So, hello there. Welcome to the sewing room. Welcome to my channel. My name is Carrie Ann. On this channel, I like to share my joy for dolls, my love for literary characters, books, inspiration, how I mesh the doll world and the storybook world together, kind of in the spirit that Pleasant Rowland did when she started the Pleasant Company. And today I have a bit of a story time tutorial, well, not tutorial, but story time slash doll talk slash help me solve a dilemma type video because I was not expecting this process to go like this. But if any of you saw, I had put out a community post saying that because my birthday was in March, I was wanting to I had this desire to create a mini me doll as like a birthday gift. So I asked what kind of face mold you all thought would best characterize me out of the American Girl face molds. Thank you to anyone who voted. You majority were saying the Marie Grace face mold, which I felt in agreement with. But you know, the difficulty in customizing is like trying to find the bits and bobs and pieces that you could work together to make this doll that you're trying to make. So I had in mind trying to find one of the light toned Marie Grace dolls, which is only Truly Me 115, which I have one of those, Truly Me 116, and then Rapunzel has a unique, but on the light, very similar to the light skin, very light skin tone. Because I think all the Disney princesses got their own special skin tone, but Rapunzel's is very similar, maybe slightly warmer, but light, like the 115. So I was thinking I was mostly aiming for the 116 because she would come with blue eyes, and because her wig is not, you know, it's the pink and purple wig. I was like, okay, I won't feel so bad switching that wig out. And I opted to purchase, there was a listing that popped up when I was looking for a canonical Marie Grace doll wig, which is, I'll just grab it. Because I still haven't used it yet in this story time, which is this beautiful medium dark brown longer haired wig with a perfect middle part like I wear my hair. And so I ordered this wig. I did not have a doll yet set, but I was like, oh, I'm gonna jump on this wig because I think hers is probably the best, the closest kind of one I could find for myself. Jumped on the wig came. I will, maybe I'll start overlaying some footage of just what I did with the wig, which was I gave it a good wash in some warm water. Then I gave it a brush, and the goal was to lose the kinks and stuff from the braids and also to get rid of the pin curls. So I took my straightener on low. I still probably could actually do a bit more to it now that I'm seeing it in the light here. But, and then with the hair like very wet, and I would continue to spray it with a spray bottle, I would straighten the pieces that were kinked. And yeah, so I managed to get the wig in a pretty good shape. But as you can see, it is still a wig and not on a doll. So this is where my more fairy doll mother story is going to come in. I don't know what it's like for any of you. But to me, the honestly like most fun part with the dolls is kind of the creating of the character, putting the elements together, designing the outfit, like making their story, like being able to put together a look, or also being able to restore and fix a doll in order to then put together their look. So I find that once I've done that, like once the doll is done, there's this kind of like, I don't know, because then they're just done. And I struggle with like moving them past their original iteration, if that makes sense. Once I've kind of solidified them into something. That's besides the point. So I had this wig, I worked on this wig, and there's this listing that came up for a TLC Rapunzel doll. So a Rapunzel doll, like previously mentioned, has the Marie Grace mold. She has a lighter skin tone, and she has these beautifully unique bluey green gray eyes. They kind of appear different dependent on the lighting and stuff, but they are more in line with my current eye color, my eye color than the light blue eye that a 1/16 would have. And yeah, she was listed. I saw her come up, she was listed, and it was at a, you know, quite decently discounted price because someone had tried to customize her by removing her freckles. They removed her eyelash paint. They even removed her lip paint. And in trying to remove the eyelash paint, they got nail polish remover on her eyes, so her eyes were clouded. And then her hair had also been cut. It was not the full length Rapunzel wig. So they were like, the rest of the doll is in perfect condition, but I kind of like botched this remodel customization, so they were just kind of offloading the doll for a lower price. Still, with conversion and shipping, it was not like the lowest price in my pocket, but still lower than a better shape Rapunzel doll. So I jumped on her because I hadn't really realized like how perfect her eyes would be. Jumped on her, waited like 2 weeks or more for her to ship. Then she arrived. I will maybe just overlay a bit of the footage. I filmed so many different things, and then it kind of all became a bit too much. So I'm trying to just re-sit down and do the story, and I'll maybe just B-roll some of my other stuff. But she came in, and the reason why I bought her is because I have had previous experience with damaging a doll eye with nail polish remover and actually being able to clean it up, which I will get to a little bit more in a bit. So I wasn't daunted by it, if that makes sense. So she arrived. I couldn't wait to jump on her and work on her, but my intention when doing her was I was gonna fix her up to make my mini-me and eventually take off her wig and replace it. So I bought her with the intention of replacing her wig. When I unboxed her, I was quite surprised that the wig was, because like from the photo, it was just like a photo of her like laying on the floor. So it wasn't the best picture to judge the state of the wig, like haircut. But surprisingly, her wig, like the person cut the wig very well. So it wasn't like a botched haircut. It just is that, you know, it's not her full length hair, but they did a very nice job cutting the wig. So I got her on the Wednesday. The next day, I just couldn't wait to work on her. You know that scene, if any of you have watched Toy Story 2, I feel like this was a formative scene for me. There's that part where, you know, Woody's at Al's. He lost his arm, so now Al's freaking out. So he calls in basically I don't know, like a toy fixer. I don't know what the job would be called. To me, I call myself like a fairy doll mother because it always feels so transformative. It feels like the Cinderella moment, like when you're taking a doll and restoring her, beautifying her, creating her look. And when you put it all together, it feels like the the Cinderella transformation moment every single time. It is my favorite thing, and I would love to just be like a, like not a quote customizer, but like a characterizer, if that makes sense. Like, give me your plain doll, I will spruce her back up, give her a story and a look, and there, have your doll back. Fairy doll mother moment. That's like, that would be my desire. if I could do something, have some kind of other doll associated business. But okay, so where was I? So the Toy Story. Okay, so the toy maker, restorer, comes in. There's that whole scene, I'm gonna overlay it, where he's shining up Woody, he's cleaning his eyes, he's stitching up his arm, and he's polishing and repainting his boots. And just, I remember that being like my favorite scene in the whole movie as a kid. I always loved watching Woody being fixed up. And I just resonate with that. And so I was so eager to work on this girl, to restore her, to revive her, and, you know, get my project underway. I had been already waiting. So I will now put the segments about tackling her eyes. So this is my PSA. I'm gonna make a shorter video also of this, I think, just if people need to reference it. But yeah, if you've ever damaged or end up damaging, or find them even, not from nail polish remover, but just they end up scratched or something, you can get, it is called plastics. There will be an overlay here. It is typically sold, you know, in automotive sections for polishing, cleaning up car headlights, because they'll get scratched, they'll get mucky, and you want to repolish them so your headlights work properly. But it is just a universal plastic cleaner and polisher. So what it does is it has this kind of like micro abrasion that will basically resurface the plastic and also give it a coating, protective sheen and shine and all that jazz. So if you get this and you have some Q-tips, then you can very carefully like apply small amounts of it with the Q-tip, and it takes some repetitive turns because you have to, in order to get the cleaning and the scrap, the abrasion, you know, you have to rub it multiple times. So you kind of do a rub, you wipe it off with a cloth, you do a rub, you wipe it off with a cloth. But I was so amazed at how her eyes totally cleared up. Like, I was so proud of myself, but just so proud in general, because they started off like not terribly hazy, but they were damaged and hazy, and the plastic polish cleaned them up real nice. Hopefully I can overlay kind of the before and after. And then how I finished them off, because I found like the plastic polish did a pretty good job at like clearing it up. But you know, when you look at the American Girl eyes and they've got that glisten. So what I did to finish them off is I have some sewing machine oil for my sewing machines. It's just kind of a plain I don't know what it is, but a plain like long lasting lubricating oil. So I just put a small dab of that on a Q-tip, and then I rubbed it on the eye. Felt very like the Woody scene. Rubbed it on the eye, and it just brought back the glisten, the shine in her eyes. So yeah, if you ever accidentally damage the doll's eye, you are not out of hope. Or yeah, you want to like maintain original eyes. I know you can eye swap and whatever, but if you don't want to do that, you want the original eyes, this is an option and it works. And I don't think it damages the doll if you maintain, you know, you're very careful in just applying it to the eyes. And yeah, so her eyes were fixed. Then the next day was the challenging attempting to fix her face paint. So I took a good scrub to her face with the magic eraser, just because they had like not fully cleaned off some of the paint and smudgy stuff. So I really scrubbed her well, like at her, it was the worst like around where the freckles were coming off. and kind of at the corner of her eyes and a bit around her mouth because from removing the lip paint. Not quite sure why they removed the lip paint, but that's okay. And yeah, I was more nervous for doing the painting than I was for fixing the eyes, because the painting can either come out nice or it can look terrible. And my first attempt with Ruthie came out terrible because I didn't know all the tips and tricks. But I learned about using floating medium for the acrylic paint in order for it to come out smoother and apply better and yeah, not look so painted on. So yeah, I had the floating medium. I'll show a clip here of the kind of different colors I played with. Just a few different pinks and a red and some white in order to mix together my lip color. And then just came the very terrifying but tedious process of trying to paint her lips on in thin layers and also do the teeth. So the lips, I just kind of followed the best I could the shape. I also looked at like a picture of Rapunzel's lips. But yeah, I just tried to paint the shape the best I could. I'm actually so pleased and proud of how they turned out. But once I had like kind of done up my layers, it almost felt like too much. So I did this kind of technique of just putting the smallest amount of the floating medium on my paintbrush, like running it over the lips where it felt a bit too strong. Like, you know, because with regular lips, if you do art or something, like you get the highlight, you get your highlights at the top and at the place where your lips protrude the most. So, you know, applying that little bit of floating medium would kind of revive the paint, and then I'd kind of, you know, when you apply even real lipstick, you put your lipstick on and then you're supposed to dab it so it's not too saturated. So then I would kind of like dab it off, and it kind of brought a bit more lightness to the lip and a bit more shading, like, I don't know, kind of dimension, if that makes sense. Really pleased with how they turned out. And then this thing that I was really terrified because I started painting the lips and I should have done the teeth first, but I did my first round of the lip and then I was like, oh no, I have to do the teeth. So what I found was I did floating medium with just white. And then I have this pair of tweezers. I use it for my sewing stuff. But they've just got, it literally has the perfect little tooth-sized edge. So I took this and I dipped it in my paint, and then I went on the doll and I just like dabbed it on, and it created, I swear it looks very reminiscent to me of how the 1986 doll's teeth are painted. Like everyone like talks about the chippy tooth. They're not these perfectly straight little rectangles, but the way that this kind of applied, it's just this super cute little soft tooth. You'll see in a minute when I share, but I'm trying to hold back because my story. Okay, but yeah, so I think these were from a set at like the dollar store or something. It came with a few different like tweezer like tools if you'd want this thing in particular. I really don't know how I would approach the teeth any other way now, because this worked just so cute and so well. And then yeah, after I was pleased with her lips, I just took the smallest amount of you know, one of the pinky colors in the floating medium, dab it. You just take the smallest amount, dab it on the cheek, use your finger to work it out onto the out, you know, like you would apply liquid blush if you're applying it to yourself, if you're a girl. Dab it on and then brush it out. But yeah, I kind of put it, if that makes sense, like right here on the dolls and on the doll, and then you're working it out. Okay, so I had done up her face. She was all fixed. I had her in just an outfit I had. And I was like, oh, she looks so pretty. And her hair looks really cute because it wasn't a bad haircut. And then I had the bright idea the next day to make her an outfit. So I had this really, I'm gonna show proof. So I've had this like terrible thought that people maybe don't believe that I make this stuff. I don't know if people would assume that, because it's easy enough to say like, oh, I made this, but you could have just bought it off somewhere, I guess. But I had this fabric. Here was the raw fabric, so you can tell I'm not lying. It's this light purple and white gingham, small gingham pattern, stripy gingham. And so because she was, you know, a Rapunzel doll in original spirit, I was inspired by Rapunzel and being purple. So I was like, I'm gonna use that fabric and I'm gonna stitch her up a little dress. So I opted to do something different. I usually do, pardon me, I usually do high neckline pieces because of the transition from the vinyl to the cloth. Isn't always my favorite thing. And of course, if you have a white body like my Samantha, you don't want to see the white body because that's jarring. So typically a lot of my sewing I always do at the neckline designs. But for Rapunzel, for when I was doing this, I was wanting to try something different. So I think I actually used the pattern for Molly's jumper dress for the top, but I modified the neckline to be a little sweetheart neckline. Then I made her, I'm just gonna have to show you, I guess, and really full skirt. Okay, so then I made this dress. I put the dress on the doll, and I did her all up, and I put her hair up in a little bow. And I was just smitten. I was like, how did she turn out so cute and so beautiful? And with her wig. And I'm like, I cannot bring myself to take the wig off and put my brown wig on just to make it my mini-me. I don't know. Because I know like I had this desire for a Rapunzel doll. I wanted a Rapunzel doll. Then I kind of settled for this Truly Me 115. Not settled, like she's beautiful, but I was like, oh, she'll probably be like the closest I can get to a Rapunzel. And then this thing happened and I'm like, now I have like an actual Rapunzel. And even though she's not canonical now because it's my face paint and she doesn't, you know, she doesn't have the regular Rapunzel face, but she has the eyes and the hair. I just can't. I just don't want to take the wig off. So now I'm in a bit of a pickle. I'm still not sure how I am going to craft together my mini-me. Okay, but here's the thing. I'm gonna show you the doll now, so that you can just hopefully understand, hopefully gush with me. I can't believe how cute she turned out. Okay, are you ready? I'm not ready. Are you ready? Okay, let's appreciate the dress. It was like once I had the dress on her, I was like, she just looks perfect. Oh, she's got a little hair on her. Doesn't she? Doesn't she? Like, oh my goodness. Okay, here. So, and I like the eye color, the face shape, like, I know it's such a good matchup. I just think that she looks adorable with her blonde hair. And here, I'll show you what I mean. And that, like, the haircut is not bad. Yes, I think the Playline Rapunzel's hair is about, like, at her knees or something. But it's not a bad haircut. It just looks like this cute. And, like, the amount of how much I enjoy just, like, running my fingers through her hair. It's so sweet and so soft, and the warm goldeny colors are so beautiful. And I put her together in this outfit. I tied up her hair. I was like, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I need the help of my doll community friends to tell me what to do, because I don't think I'll find another opportunity with like a Rapunzel. So I've honestly thought about like sacrificing my 115 to remodel her, or to go back to looking for like a 116 and remodel that one. She is so cute. But yeah, I know her eye color was like perfect for me. But I've got these other eyes that I ordered from a doll sale that might even be better. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about with like doing a lower neckline. I don't usually do that, but I think it turned out so cute. This video is gonna be so long. Yeah, and just look at her adorable teeth. Like, I'm sorry, but I think that the way it painted on was so cute and so adorable. And something about like the way that she doesn't have the eyelashes on just really gives that youthful, innocent type look to her. And with the dress and her little, oh. I just love her. And yeah, my daughter calls her Rapunzel, but for myself, I've kind of been liking calling her Posy. Like if I keep her as Rapunzel, calling her Posy as her little nickname or alternative name instead of always calling her Rapunzel. What do I do? Please give me some advice. Please give me some advice. What do I do? Do I keep her blonde? Should I make her my mini-me? Should I find a new doll? I just can't believe how well she turned out. Okay, well, if you've listened all this way, thank you for listening. I love being a fairy doll mother. This is probably the most fun part about dolls to me, is the creation process, the play, designing an outfit and a look and putting it together, fixing her up. So yeah, thank you for being here, and if you have any advice, please let me know down in the comments. Part of me has thought about like looking at, is there even a different face mold that I could also pass for, so that I just diversify my collection with another unique face mold? Like I kind of don't want to then have 3 Marie Grace molds. I don't know. Should I renovate 115 and then, I don't know. Looking for some advice. If you have any,